Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View. I'm joined today with Carmen, Renee, and as always, Mary. You may have heard that we were going to have Zuzu from It's a Wonderful Life on today, Carolyn Grimes. She's actually going to be on Monday. We had to do a little bit of juggling, but we have plenty to talk about today. It's going to be hard to fit it all in, and we also have a guest. We're going to talk about what happened with North Dakota sports attendance and the Facebook page, Let Them Play North Dakota. We'll get into that a little bit later. First, we like to take a look at what was talked about on The View because we have another view. And so we talk about typically the topics of the day. And today it was brought up, this is kind of big news. There's a lawsuit being filed before the Supreme Court by Texas, but 17 other states have joined in the lawsuit. And the last one to join was North Dakota. So we're in there, yay. And basically what they're saying is that it claims that the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin did not follow proper election law and protocols, and as a result, disenfranchised Texas voters and all voters in the United States. So this morning when they brought that up, there's a lot of disbelief and frustration, and somebody said it's like a bad headache. But let's take a look at this clip and see how they describe the lawsuit in front of the Supreme Court.
17 Republican attorney generals are backing Texas on this because, as Sunny also talked about the craziness of the legal part, you have lawyers saying that Rick Hasen, an election law expert and a professor, saying this lawsuit may have replaced the one filed in Pennsylvania as the dumbest case I've ever seen filed on an emergency basis at the Supreme Court. Then someone said, you know, this is a press release masquerading as a lawsuit. Calling this garbage might be generous. I mean, this is really sinking pretty low.
The problem with her description of it, the dumbest lawsuit ever that has been filed, it involves 18 attorney generals, represents 70 million voters at least. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that, again, as usual, they didn't tell the whole story. They didn't talk. I did hear them say the word Constitution one time, and I thought, this is progress. This is real progress that they actually know that word. This is a constitutional battle. This is not about Democrat or Republican, and they're trying to make it all about Trump, and it is not. I think if they could somehow survey all the people that believe that this lawsuit should happen, I think they might be surprised at the number of people, and some of them are from the Democrat Party as well, that are saying, no, there was absolute fraud. There were all kinds of affidavits, sworn affidavits. These people know they can go to jail if they're lying, and they're willing to step up as private citizens to say, this is what I witnessed. And I think that's huge, and I think that needs to be part of the discussion, because they don't ever bring up that part, that the Constitution is being tested here and exercised.
I don't know what they're afraid of. I think it's a good thing. Examine the evidence. I mean, it's just really, to me, very common sense. And again, I did not vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Biden. I have no horse in this race. And I just look at it and I'm like, what's the big deal? Just look at the evidence. If it does not pan out, guess what? Everybody has more confidence in the process. That's how I look at it.
Well, it's kind of funny because they don't even talk about Republicans. They call anyone who supports Donald Trump, President Trump, they call them Trumplicans. Yeah. I guess I take that as a compliment. I'm a Trumplican. I am. He just so happens to be our president, and I do vote Republican. So, and I know there's many good choices. Some years I haven't, but it's just kind of funny because she said, Sarah had said they're turning over 20 million votes and they're disenfranchising 20 million people. Well, you know what? There's probably 100 million people. It's actually, I think the figure that they use is 70 million people. There's 70 million people that they're disenfranchising with all the cheating that went on. I mean, they have the affidavits, they have the evidence. They even talked about, well, how can they do that? There's nothing to see. There's like, they can go forward with a lawsuit with nothing to see. And it's like, but yet the entire time, there's all kinds of evidence. They have video of people coming in, taking suitcases out from underneath tables. They have video of truckloads of ballots. They have video of people being chased out. They said Republicans had every opportunity to go ahead and view this. Nobody viewed it. Nobody viewed it because they were chased out. And then they did it in the dark of night at 3:00 a.m. That's when all these truckloads of ballots came in. Trump was winning up until they chased everybody out of the building. And then all of a sudden, he lost. And so there's plenty of evidence to look at.
There is, and we're going to get back to that videotape. We'll talk about the videos in just a minute. But the part of the problem is they're saying, oh, this is revenge because the Democrats questioned Trump's win. And one person said, well, of course we questioned that win because it was so obvious that the Russians were involved. And somebody else said, well, how could you not? How could you not question it? Because you would have to have been insane to vote for Trump. And I think these are the same people that are talking about uniting and saying that the winner of the election, there had to be something wrong because you would have been insane if you voted for him. So speaking of videos, YouTube made the decision. They announced that as of yesterday, any videos that refer to any kind of election fraud, Mary, you talked about there's evidence on videos. Well, that's not going to be allowed anymore. Anything to do with election fraud is going to be deleted. So this is just the continuation of the kind of censoring that we've been seeing.
But I did notice today when I was going through on my YouTube, there were plenty of stories there from the usual suspects. I think what they really meant to say was if it's anything that would start to confirm that there actually was fraud, that's going away. But all the news sources that are saying this is ridiculous, these people are just stupid, these people don't even know what they're doing, this is the lowest form of low when it comes to being an attorney and actually bringing this before the Supreme Court, those stories are staying, it looked like to me this morning. But the ones that are saying there's good proof, no.
Good point.
Well, welcome to my world. I've been screaming this from the housetops for only 38 years, and I've been on the anti-vaccine bandwagon for 38 years, and there's thousands of medical professionals and doctors, and literally, globally, millions of moms that believed in vaccines, and they have severely vaccine-injured children. And guess what? They don't get a microphone. They don't get a microphone. Right now, we have 36,000 scientists from all over the world, Nobel laureates. They don't get a microphone, and they don't get anything. So this is what's going on, and I think it's good that it's showing. We're seeing this censorship with the election. YouTube saying, no, we're not going to put that on. Hey, maybe it's time to say, everybody wake up. And it's not just about Trump. Why are we seeing this kind of censorship? This should be deeply concerning to both sides.
Mm-hmm. And I think, why do you think we have the show,
Yeah.
Ladies of Another View, on back? Because of that kind of censorship where the other view isn't getting heard. We had a meteorologist on Monday to talk about climate change and saying, these are the actual statistics. It's not calamity, and that actually the globe is doing quite well under these warmer conditions. So we have more to talk about after these messages with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, It's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. During our last segment, we talked about the lawsuit that Texas is filing and 17 other states, including North Dakota, has joined in. We're going to move into talking about the whole Hunter Biden case. His taxes are being investigated. But before we do, is there anything else you wanted to add about the whole lawsuit?
You know, I thought what was interesting too is that the ladies brought up the whole thing with Russia again, and well, absolutely it was true. Absolutely that it all happened, that Russia did interfere with our election. And I wanted to say yes, and there is proof that the DNC and Hillary were behind paying for the dossier. There is proof of that. It hasn't come to court. Will it ever? I don't know. I think we're in the process of seeing if we still have a true justice system or we don't. I really do. But beyond that, I thought it was interesting that when they're looking at statistical analysis, especially when we had climate change yesterday, I thought it was interesting because nobody's looking and talking about the statistical possibility that this election turned out the way it did. That is a science in itself, and it's like statistically, this is impossible. That even if Trump did lose, not by that much, it's statistically impossible. But nobody's talking about that.
Well, a friend of mine had actually sent me a text yesterday about the show, actually, and he goes, well, don't you know 1 + 1 = 113%? And I just thought that was so funny because it's so true, because it's all about the figures, it's all about the numbers, but they just keep bringing up the same stuff. And what's so sad is there's a lot of people that don't get any other news other than what's on the mainstream media. Okay, so you can find it here, but if you're not getting your news from any place other than mainstream media, how would you know? So I sometimes question the ladies on The View. It's like, are they that dumb? Or do they just don't look any further than what they're being spoon-fed to say? Because there's so much out there. I mean, there are, like I said before, there's the videos, the evidence is there. So that's what's so crazy about it. And call us what you will, but we're gonna share the truth.
Yeah.
Right, and they suggested that this is just revenge, and they're, that now we have these lawsuits and we're complaining because the Democrats, the whole Russian probe, but they said, but we had to do that because that actually happened.
It actually happened, yeah. Yeah, this didn't, this was a dream. It was
nothing to see here, folks, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Something else that didn't happen was Hunter Biden's laptop. It did not happen, it was banned from Twitter and Facebook and most of the media. And the story broke by the Washington Post that Hunter Biden left one of his laptops at a pawn shop. He had actually been called several times to come get your laptop. And finally, at some point, it's like, okay, it's not yours anymore. And the owner of the pawn shop took a look and was like, whoa, I think maybe I better turn this into somebody. And it actually got into the hands of Rudy Giuliani and the Department of Justice. There was an investigation by the FBI.
But I was going to say the reason he turned it over to the FBI is because of and this was what's being alleged, is the sexual nature on the laptop with minors. And so that is a big deal. Other than that, it might have been something like nothing to see here, it's just a bunch of business dealings. But it's what was so alarming to that computer shop owner is the images that were on that computer.
Right, and exactly. And that it contained communications and documents detailing some of the business dealings with China and the Ukraine. Lots of information on there that could be used for blackmail, and it did show a connection with his dad, Joe Biden. Oftentimes, the communications from China, from the Ukraine, talking about meeting with the big guy. And then also, 2 of his former business partners came forward and did interviews. And the one guy, Bobulinski, Tony Bobulinski, it must be a Polish name, but it almost sounds like Italian. But anyways, he came forward and said, hey, I'm clearing my name. His family had, generations in the military. He had only ever donated to the Democratic Party, but they were throwing him under the bus. And there were other emails that confirmed the emails they found on Hunter Biden's computer. So this wasn't conjecture, even though outside of the New York Post, everything was called, well, this alleged. They look out for adjectives, folks, because when you say things like alleged, the conservative, like with people in office, if they call them conservative, it's usually a negative report they're giving. They don't say the liberal senator. So anyways, just look out for adjectives, because everything reported on that was alleged, and it was really minimized, and even said that it was Russian collusion. Can you believe that? It has several times been called Russian collusion, which is why Tony Bobulinski said, no, the Russians didn't have anything to do with this. And then he told his story. So on The View this morning, they brought it up because he's being investigated for his taxes. So they are going to take a look into his computers. And everybody said, well, if there's a crime, then fine. But they basically don't think they're going to find anything. What did you guys think?
Well, I thought it was, again, interesting that, Hunter just came out yesterday and said that he just found out yesterday that he'd been being investigated for his taxes since 2018. It's like, yeah, well, we've been saying, where's Hunter, for over a year now. So maybe it took him that long to get notified that it was happening. I don't know. But anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting, because if the IRS is investigating you for your taxes, you get all kinds of mail. You get all kinds of stuff. I can't believe that he just found out yesterday. Either that, or he's been off on a cruise somewhere for a long time.
He didn't get the calls on his laptop. I think it's entirely possible.
I know. But to me, what they were saying on The View this morning made it look like they're doing a little CYA here. That's what it looks like to me. That, we need to get it out there that we are, because if Trump would get seated again, that show is going to lose viewership. They're going to lose a lot of credibility, I think. And so maybe they're doing a little bit of damage control, just maybe, well, we better say that, and even Sunny today, she was kind of going, well, I talked to my Republican friend, and he's not a kook, and, he kind of made me see some things. And I thought, they're really planting some seeds here. It was different. It was different today.
I guess I was kind of impressed that a couple of them said, go ahead and investigate, be transparent. I was like, okay, well, let's look at the positive here. At least they're saying that. Maybe they know something. I don't know.
I guess I'm going to just follow up on what Carmen was saying, because there's so much evidence that how do I put this? they're trying not to, they're throwing him under the bus, but very gently. They're placing him under the bus because there is that much evidence available. There's just way too much to sweep under the rug. There's too many witnesses coming forward that a lot of this is true, or the majority of it is true. And so it was just, I found that interesting. But anyway, Joy had to add her 2 cents. Just in case Hunter is guilty of something, I think Biden should channel Trump and do what he would have done. Pardon the boy. And it's like, are you kidding me? So they're already talking about pardoning Hunter Biden, and his dad's not president yet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. My big disappointment was when they first said who was going to, what the show was about. I thought, Hunter Biden's going to be on. Holy cow, this is big. I mean, they can get anybody on their show. Yeah, he wasn't there.
Well, yeah, so somebody from the FBI top porn investigation has subpoenaed Hunter Biden. And what really bothered me, like you said, Mary, if he's guilty, then let's have him pardoned. What?
Right?
If he's guilty for all these horrible things, let's pardon him.
Even investigated.
You know what? At least you put it all out there. We know where you're at. Crimes do not matter to you. Being a Democrat, being anti-Trump is what matters to you. So in our next segment, we're going to talk about sports and parents in North Dakota, so you know it's going to be a lively discussion. We'll be right back with ladies of another view on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best-built, best-backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Hi, welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. We have with us today Jill Dumoulin, and she's just a mom, a working mom of 4 kids, and she helped get started the Facebook page, Let Them Play North Dakota, Let Them Play ND to be exact. And this had to do with when it was announced on December 14th. No. I'm sorry, I got my dates wrong here. It was announced that
November 13th
that they were going to stop playing sports. And then within 2 days, the Facebook page started up. It now has 7,500 members, and parents are passionate about their kids playing sports. And Jill knows she has 4 kids. They're in figure skating and hockey. And they were concerned, first of all, it began because the kids weren't playing sports. And then when they were told, okay, we're going to start having practices November 30th, we're going to start playing again December 14th, but only 50 spectators, which would have meant if your kids were playing away out of town, you could not go. And of the kids that were playing, they could have 1 parent. So a lot of the parents said, wait a minute, you can have more people in a bar and a restaurant in that. This is not okay. So Jill, tell us, why is it, you started up the Facebook page and it's like, if you build it, they will come. And they came.
They did.
Yes, tell us about it.
Let Them Play North Dakota is a group of parents on Facebook that are advocating for our kids to be in extracurricular activities. We feel that when our kids are in extracurricular activities, it's the best place for them to be for their mental and physical well-being. And this group was started by Shauna, and Shauna is a mom of 2 boys, and she's also a dispatcher for 911 calls. And she heard the phone calls coming in from young people and the phone calls of self-harm and how this was affecting them.
Oh my.
And not only, she also has 2 young boys, well, not young, actually, that is a senior and a junior that are playing sports. And she saw how that was impacting her boys as well. So she started the Facebook page, Let Them Play North Dakota.
Unbelievable.
Wow, that is huge. And I went to the page, and I should say that as of yesterday, these parents were passionate and they were reasonable. I loved, one parent said he was writing a letter, Wade Williamson, and I asked him to, I'll just do it from memory. I asked him, hey, can I see a copy of your letter? And he put very reasonable things, and he talked about things that we didn't always think about. It's not just about the sports, but it's about bonding for the older and younger siblings. It's about the fundraising for the school with concession and ticket sales and raffles. You know, it's about so much more in addition to, of course, the well-being of the students and being at away games, and there's nobody there to cheer for you, and your parents aren't even there if you get hurt. And so as of yesterday, they did change their decision. Instead of just 50 spectators, they said 25% of capacity, so depending on the size of the gym. And here we have, you can look up there. So if your gymnasium holds 3,500, your 25% capacity would be 1,000. So how do you feel, Jill, do you feel like that having that Facebook page really benefited the parents so they could speak in a united voice, and that this helped to change the decision?
I really do. I presented and provided a platform for parents to share their stories, also to share information, and also for the decision makers in our communities to get instant feedback of what the community was thinking, what they're feeling. And we can only have a better understanding of that when people's stories are shared. And so as we move forward, I think that we need to have the conversation be, how can we create wins for our children? What does a win look like in 2020? What does a win look like in 2021? And we think that is, how can our kids be active in sports? And now the conversation is changing for spectators. How do we have those spectators be able to come and cheer on these athletes? How do we have even extended family members, grandparents that have been a part of this journey for these kids as they have worked so hard? And so it's, how do we create wins for our kids during this time?
Right, it's so unbelievable because a lot of these grandparents, they look forward to these kids' games. It's the only interaction that they have with their grandkids. And with COVID, let's face it, we're not guaranteed next year, whether it's COVID or a car accident. When you're in your 80s and you're going to see those sporting events, that is what sports is all about. It's about bringing families together. It's about getting the exercise. But then let's look at the side effect of COVID and these closures and all of this information. We have someone from dispatch talking about the self-harm. Why isn't that on the media? Why don't we hear that? You know, I haven't heard that. I've heard, you know, every now and then you'll say, oh yes, an 8-year-old killed himself, or a 14-year-old, you know, in another state, 6 states away, and it is so heartbreaking. But we have a local dispatcher that gets these calls constantly for self-harm. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so glad to see parents standing up. And of course, my issue is always liberty, because most people, like you said, they watch mainstream media. They don't really know a lot outside. And they don't realize that we've always had viruses with a 0.2% fatality rate from the beginning of time, and much higher. And why our government is doing this, and globally this is happening, again, people, we have to look at coming together, because they can't do this. Mandates are not laws, okay? I personally refuse to wear a mask, okay? And they cannot make me do this. I have God-given rights, you have God-given rights, and this is darn ridiculous that they are taking these children's rights away and making these kids wear masks too, harming our children psychologically, physically, you know, all these things, spiritually. I mean, I saw a child that literally ran away from me because I didn't have a mask on. They're teaching children to fear viruses. It's ridiculous. It really is.
Did that topic come up very often, COVID? Because I like to know that there's a lot of children that are hurting and harmed and depressed because they're not getting together, or they can't play sports. And this is among a population that really doesn't get sick, and they're not endangered, and yet they're being punished in a big way. Did that topic come up very often?
Well, most definitely. COVID does come up in every conversation that we have, whether it's at school or at work, and most definitely on Facebook. And so that conversation did come up, but I think for North Dakota, I appreciate what independent thinkers we are. That's one of the things I discovered in this process in the last month, as people have been sharing their stories, but it's also looking at the risk versus the reward. And I think that the risk is low for our children to participate, given the survival rate. And so the reward is far greater as these kids are growing and learning, and all the benefits that extracurricular activities have. So looking at the risk versus reward, it's a no-brainer to me for our kids.
There is no risk. I mean, I can't remember, in Sweden, it was hundreds of thousands of children, because they're all in school, and nobody under the age of 15 died of COVID. Children are not at risk. And again, are we going to do this every year? Because we always have viruses with a 0.2% fatality rate. So what are we going to do? We're going to do this every year? It's insane.
You know, one thing I liked, I went back to the Facebook page today just to take another look, and I appreciated that somebody said, hey, everybody, if you think about it, write a thank you, because their voice did make a difference. And this is amazing. Thank you, Jill, for being a part of this, because it really shows the North Dakota spirit, but it shows the human spirit too, that we don't have to sit back if we think something is unfair. And we were listened to. Isn't that the North Dakota spirit too?
Right. Yes. And I want to say that for these small farming communities, like these little towns that are dotted all over North Dakota, it's like, that's what they look forward to. That is what they do on a Saturday night. They go to a basketball game. On Friday nights, they go to a football game. It's Friday Night Lights. That's what they do. The community comes together. They make scholarship funds. It's all about fundraising. The community comes together and helps the kids. And so that's what we're missing out on. Some of the scholarships are going to be smaller this year too. So there's so many side effects to this.
You know, I want to remind you too that there is Beck Sports. So you can watch you can watch everybody's kids playing sports. You don't need to make the cut for getting into the gymnasium or whatever. They don't just do basketball, football, they do volleyball and just about everything.
And
baseball.
Just my 2 cents before we end, I know we're running out of time, but so maybe 50 or 100 of you can wait in the parking lot or at the concession stand and then swap out with somebody inside the gymnasium. So if 2 grandparents want to watch, there are ways around rules.
Right.
Just say.
Yeah, give everybody a chance. So
the best rule is don't comply. just don't comply.
Renee's our radical. Have you figured that out yet? So, okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about What is better, natural immunization or getting a vaccine? When we come back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Howdy folks, it's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a comb roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. And we have had some lively discussions so far. Thank you, Joe, for coming in and talking about parents and sports in North Dakota. And you can go to their Facebook page, Let Them Play North ND, because I think it's going to be around for a while. So now I want to talk about, the New York Times had an article, and their headline said basically that immunizations from vaccines are better than getting the disease. Now, there's two different aspects to this topic. One is they were saying, get vaccinated, don't take the risk of trying to get COVID and then building up your immunity that way. But they also said within the article, even if you had COVID, get the vaccine. So this isn't, right now we're not going to, we know we have somebody who has a lot to say about vaccinations. So that's not what the debate is right now. It's about if you already had COVID, isn't that immunity good enough? Why would you then go ahead and get the vaccination? And they're saying, well, because it might not have been strong enough, and that some diseases give you permanent immunization, immunity. For instance, mumps. You get mumps and you have immunity for life. You never get it again. With the flu, there's different viruses, and every year they're coming up with something, hoping to get the strain of the year. So anyways, I'll have more to say about this, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, when it comes to whether or not to get the vaccine, immunization, whatever you want to call it. Interestingly enough, both my husband and I have had it, right? The first time I decided I wanted to get tested for antibodies. And the pharmacist said, why would you want to get tested if you've had it? Most people don't care. You know, they just know they have antibodies. I said, I just want it for my own peace of mind. I've got a 94-year-old mom, whatever. So I go in to get tested, and I come up negative. Well, now I'm going, okay, now what, right? And he said, well, it could take up to a month. Well, it hadn't been quite a month since symptom-free. So then my husband and I just recently went back, and we both got tested. And what I was told was that now I have antibodies. My husband does too. Mine, he said, were faint, was my result. They were faint antibodies. My husband, he said, I've never seen anybody have that strong of an antibody show from COVID as what he did. So when I think of that, what they had to say about the vaccine, or it's like, okay, so my husband, and then it also said in that article that you may be good for years and years. And so it's like, so now should I get it and he shouldn't then? But if it's real strong, then he should be good. But no, he probably should get it too. I mean, it's so confusing. It doesn't matter. None of it makes sense most of the time to me, so.
Well, you can't always go by you have your T cells, you have a memory in your T cells, so you can't just go by your immunity that you show in your blood, okay? But I wanted to read something from that article. Tom Massey, I think he's a Republican from Virginia, I'm not even sure, so I'm not sure on that, but he responded to that article that Patty's talking about, and he said the Pfizer vaccine announcement was based on efficacy after 7 days, not weeks or months, yet many are dismissing the unmeasured duration of natural immune response. Also, the news is based on only 94 cases out of 40,000 participants. So that brings up the whole issue of fraud, okay? In the mainstream media, most people don't know that 80% of the mainstream media's funding comes from the pharmaceutical industry. And then I wanted to show what Rand Paul said. He said, why does the left accept immune theory when it comes to vaccines, but not when discussing natural acquired immunity? And most people don't really understand that you don't get lifelong immunity from a vaccine. You're lucky if you even get immunity, real immunity. You're lucky if you keep it for 2 to 4 years. And that's why all these boosters are needed. And most of the outbreaks that happen all over the world are in the vaccinated population. And if anybody wants any sources, I will be glad to put those sources on our website. So I wanted to read something real quickly from a doctor, a quote on here. By Dr. Stacy Wallstum, natural immunity is a blessing. It's very different at the cellular level than what a vaccine confers. God's immunity is for a lifetime when man's vaccine requires boosters and causes chronic health issues, as we now witness in the majority of the vaccinated population. And most people don't realize that when you acquire an infection, measles, mumps, whatever, naturally, your risk of cancer goes down dramatically. So when you get the measles, the mumps, whooping cough, or COVID, which has a 99% recovery rate, you actually build your immune system. When you get a vaccine, it does the opposite. It weakens your immune system. Even though you might have antibodies for that virus, it actually weakens your immune system, and you're not going to keep that immunity for a lifetime.
I guess there's so many. I don't even know where to start, and I've said that before. But what confuses me is that the virus itself only makes you immune for 90 days. And they don't know. They're saying 90 days or it could be years. All right, so which is it? And then they're saying that the vaccine, are we going to take it once a year, or is it good for every 5 years? And I'll go back to, I had mentioned last week that I had a relative that was in the clinic, and he said, we won't even know the side effects of the vaccines for at least 5 years. And now people in UK, they just started taking it this week, they're already having allergic reactions to the vaccine. So with that many unknowns, I am just totally against getting it just pushed down our throats right now. And not only that, but now they want to, well, at first they were going to start on the Native American, the Indian reservations. Well, thank goodness they stepped up, and all the tribal chairmen, they all went to the Capitol and they said, no, absolutely not. Why would you do that? I mean, that is that's like sending smallpox blankets. I mean, come on, that is disgusting. Anyway, so now, oh, well, if we can't use the Native Americans, let's use the elderly. Okay, so what if the side effects kill them, right? Well, because they have so many side effects. They said that be prepared to be sick for a few days and it'll be mild symptoms of COVID. Well, if they can't live through, the elderly or someone with a poor immune system, if they can't live through COVID, how can they live through some side effects of the vaccine?
And if I could just jump in here, one thing that most people don't know, again, these are liability-free products. If something happens to you, you cannot sue the manufacturer, the vaccine manufacturer. If they're so confident about their product, why do they have to go to the government and ask them to be exempt from liability for their products? That's deeply concerning. The government has paid out $4 billion in vaccine injuries, and only 1%, less than 1% of vaccine injuries actually get reported. And I just want to mention this. Vaccines are not made with grapes and blueberries and apples. We're talking about known neurotoxins like aluminum, retroviruses, carcinogens, aborted baby DNA. These are very dangerous ingredients that we're injecting into our bodies.
Okay, and not all vaccines have aborted fetuses.
Right,
so
most of them
there's
do.
a difference, and you have to do your research. And basically this is, and the debate is, does natural immunity trump, not to use that word, I guess, getting the vaccinations? And we don't know everything that's going to come out with the vaccinations, so it remains to be seen. Not that we don't know that I have friends and family that work in the hospitals that are, they are seeing a lot of pain and suffering and death. So we're not saying that's not happening, but we still have to look at this, like what are the pros and cons? Like we learned in the last segment, there's a lot of kids that are calling 911 that are suffering because they're being kept home. So we have to consider all the different aspects. So, okay, we're gonna go to another break on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Howdy, folks. It's the County Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey-Boss and Breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota. Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here were terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. We've had a lot to talk about today. A lot of serious.
We do every day.
Every day, yes, yes. It's hard to pick and choose what we want to talk about. And I came across a funny little, I took a clip from this video from J.P. Sears. If you know who J.P. Sears is, he's so funny and he plays everything straight and he covers everything. You cannot peg him as a conservative, a liberal. I don't know what he is, but he sure is funny. Let's take a look at this.
Oh, I'm going to Portland tomorrow.
What are you doing up there?
Rioting and looting.
Nice. For what?
Oh, just the sport of it. You know, exercise.
Sounds peaceful.
Yeah, we're really taking a stand against people who take a stand.
Against people who take a stand for anything specific?
Yeah, anything specific.
Sounds progressive.
AOC, baby. Ha ha ha.
With you there, man. If it's okay to call you that.
Hey, have you been following the election?
Very closely.
Do you think there was really voter fraud?
Oh, yeah.
What makes you so sure?
I committed a lot of it.
That sounds like a lot of honest votes for Biden.
Yeah, they were.
Hey, what do you think about the COVID vaccine coming out?
It's a miracle.
I know, and only 2 days after the Associated Press elected Biden into office.
I think we should credit all of it to Biden.
It's like he personally created it.
The man's a genius.
Are you gonna get one?
Oh, yeah. Are you?
Only if it's not mandatory.
It'll be a vintage top shelf injection.
But is it tested yet?
About to be.
It'll be common courtesy to get 1 or 7 of them.
Yeah, you're a leper if you don't get one.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I think he covered everything we covered today.
Yeah,
and then some.
I love that guy. I've been following him for years. He is, the talent he has is absolutely amazing with humor. It's great. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's just nice to be able to, you know, put a funny twist on it because there is so many people are hurting right now. And so he spoke the truth, made it funny, which I love. And it, you know, it came down to everyone's level in a sense where, you know, we're going through a crisis. We really are. Yeah. It's not the pandemic per se. It's a life crisis, and we really need to see what's going on in the whole country, basically. And so for him to go ahead and make it light and comical, that's right up my alley.
Yeah. Well, he really looked at it from our perspective, you know, is that I wish everything was open so we could shut it down. And so funny to us, I don't know if it's funny to people that
I'm going to protest. Well, what are you protesting? Well, I'm protesting. Yeah. You know, and it's so the way he put a spin on absolutely everything was just hilarious. He's funny. He always pulls it off.
And he's also been banned on YouTube. Okay.
I was going to I thought, well, wait, is he going to get banned? What has he been banned for?
That's what I'm saying. All these people, I've known this censorship's been going on for years in my circle. And so, you know, when I see these people talking about censorship, I'm like, what do you think we've been talking about? We've been warning you that all these people are getting censored, you know? So, yeah, it's crazy.
I wonder what he was censored for, do you know?
Oh, well, he speaks the truth, and you know, he has a huge following, and anybody who is influential, just give you an example of censorship, there is a, gosh, what is his name? There's a doctor in Wyoming. He is on the task force, and he's got this unbelievable bio, and he's in the public health task force on COVID, and he did a presentation in Colorado, and somebody, I don't know if the governor's seen his presentation, he lost his job, or they just pulled him. I mean, so censorship in all ways, not only on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere else, but people lose their job if they speak the truth. Everybody
yeah,
should
and
be.
he's just about the humor too. So I guess not everybody wants to be poked fun at because there's a lot of truth sometimes in the humor. Before our parting thoughts, I want everybody to know that tomorrow we're going to have Dr. Brooke Miller on as a guest. He's going to talk about COVID shaming, which is a whole new kind of shaming, a whole new kind of bullying going on. And he's going to talk about our immune system and how to boost it. So I think whatever you think about COVID, we can all boost our immune system and be better for it. And so what are your parting thoughts for today?
Oh gosh, I was just thinking with the humor thing, we've kind of been tossing it around at our house, well, and other places too, but is there going to be a movie that's going to come out? You know, they're starting to do TV series on life with COVID, like it's going to go on forever kind of thing, and it's going to be this great new TV show, and it's like, anyway, will they do maybe a remake of some of the classic Christmas films, only turn them into humor with, you know, we were thinking of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, for example. If that became something that revolved around having COVID at Christmas and just how hilarious that could be. I mean, if you make it funny.
Well, you know, they colorized the old movies. Maybe they could put masks on everybody to modernize. Go ahead.
Well, my closing point is your immune system is not a conspiracy theory. It actually works. It's been working since the beginning of time. And again, 99.8% of people survive COVID.
Yes. And I guess my parting thoughts are, you know, it's December, what, 9th, 10th? I can't remember.
10th, we're on 10,
today.
yeah.
Anyway, so, we haven't had any snow yet to speak of, and the cold weather's supposed to hit starting today and tomorrow. So bundle up, baby, it's cold outside.
I don't want to think about that. So anyways, join us tomorrow. And coming up next is On the Road with Joel Heitkamp. And thanks for joining Ladies of Another View on Beck.